Yo, what's up guys, it's Vorted. I play FFA all day every day, except for today because I have a story to tell you guys. So this one might be a little bit of a long story. I'm kind of just gonna ramble through it and see how it goes. In the background, I'm gonna be playing my Black Ops 6 montages, and so if you haven't seen those, you're gonna see them now and just get this voiceover telling this story. Got a good amount of detail, and I figured I might as well make this before I forget stuff, and you can find out what's been going on. So just a couple disclaimers. I'm not trying to be mean to her or anything. It's just I'm just telling it from how I see it, and she's definitely not interested, which is fine, but just saying the story because I make some content, and most of my content is just hitting clips, and I don't have too many real life stories to say, and when a story comes up, it makes me want to make a video and talk about it. So and like another disclaimer, it's like I don't typically do this. I don't try to date very much these days. I just lead a really simple life where I go to work and do my work and then come home, eat some food, and play some games. Like, it's very simple. I hang out with some friends once in a while as well, which is good. But for the most part, it's not like I'm actively trying to go out to bars or go out and meet women and do all that. Like, obviously, yeah, I see women walking around or whatever, and I think they're really attractive, but I never have the confidence to go up and be like, hey, thought you're really pretty, what's your number, let's try to go on a date. Nothing like that. So all of this is pretty new to me, and you might be thinking that's kind of weird because I'm on the older side, but God didn't bless me with great looks or great body or great height or great whatever, right? So just all of that adds up, and it doesn't really make me want to try to go out and meet people. So anyway, that's the disclaimers, I guess. So we're gonna get into the story now, and just keep in mind it's gonna be a little rambly, probably. It's gonna be a little bit of a longer story, but I have tons of montages, so just feel free to keep enjoying that, and go get some food or whatever. So alright, so the story begins. It's on a Thursday, and this is like a couple months ago, like 2 months, 2.5 months. And it's on a Thursday, and normal, typical Thursday for me, I get done with work, and then my best friends and I, we go watch a movie. Most every Thursday, unless, one of us is busy, we might try to do it on Friday, whatever. So that's what I was looking forward to. It's, get done with work Thursday, get home, and we got a movie coming up. And I get a text from a friend at work who is a woman, and she was like, hey, I'm going to see a movie with a friend. We have an extra ticket if you want to come. And I got this, and I was just like, oh, this isn't, well, and the movie was for Friday, right? So she sent the text on Thursday, hey, friend and I are going to a movie Friday, and we have an extra ticket. And I was thinking like, oh, okay, yeah, I love going to the movies. Like, I love going to the movie theaters. This would be good. And I was already assuming her friend was another woman, because it'd be kind of weird if my friend, who's a woman, going to the movie with another guy and then trying to invite me as well. Like, that would have been kind of weird. So I already kind of assumed it was another woman, but I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll go see a movie with 2 women, that's fine. And then she sends another text right after it. It's like, and by the way, my friend is single and she's really pretty, and I think you guys will hit it off. And getting that text, I got all this pressure put on me, because now it's like a blind date kind of thing. Like, it's a setup, and like, if she didn't say that text, I would have still gone, but I would have had this like pressure on the side saying like, oh, hey, by the way, she's single, or like, maybe I would have picked up that she was single when I got to the movies or whatever, but I wouldn't have been thinking about it the whole day going into the movie, right? So anyway, so I get those texts, and then I did respond, and like right away basically, and I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And and then because my friend and I mean, we talk at work and stuff, and she's fun. So then I was just like, why did you tell me she was pretty and single? Like, now you're putting all this pressure on me. And she was laughing and stuff. So anyway, that was on Thursday, and then I went to the movies on Thursday night with my friends, and that was all good. And then so going to bed Thursday, now we kind of deviate a little bit, because I had this phone which had been lasting for like 7 years, and it was kind of on its last legs. There was an issue with the screen that it wouldn't come on. Like normal phones, they're black screen, and then you like double tap, and then it lights up, and then you can log on and stuff into your phone, or you click the button. My phone, black screen. If I tried to do that to come fully on, I had this like glitch that all my screen would be green, and there was just something wrong with like the connection or something. So anyway, I had to set my phone to be constantly on, like constantly on screen, like it's just fully on all the time, because then I could still use my phone. But anyway, and so I had to do that, and for reasons I had to keep my phone on at night in case I got a call from work and other things. So I had to leave it charged, or leave it plugged in, because my phone also, the battery wouldn't last that long, and so I had to keep it charged during the whole night. And this worked for months. Like, you know, I would keep my phone charged all night, and it's fine. And you know, most people say you should not do this, which makes sense. Or newer phones nowadays, you can set it to say, hey, you know, once it hits 90%, stop charging. Like, don't be fully charged the whole time. This phone didn't have that. Anyway, so I either fell asleep, you know, on TikTok or whatever, and my phone was under my covers, or I had woken up early in the morning and was doing TikTok and then fell asleep. I don't know what happened, but when I woke up and I was conscious, then I felt my phone, and it was like really hot, and my phone, the screen was off, like not normal. And I was like, oh gosh. And I'm like trying to click it and hold it down, and nothing is working. I'm like freaking out, because yeah, you know, as one does when you don't have a phone. And so I'm like, wow, it's like so hot, I need to cool it down. So I stick the phone in the fridge for a while, and get it cooled down, and then I plug it back in to see, like, and it was at 0% battery, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Why was it so hot, but it was at 0%? And like, what happened? So anyway, it started charging up, and then I was able to turn on the phone, and I was like, oh, nice, this is working, this is good, I can still have my phone. But then after like 30 seconds of it being on, it started getting super hot again. The phone was laggy, I couldn't click any apps, couldn't do anything like that. So anyway, cooled down my phone again, and then tried it again, and same kind of thing, laggy, couldn't do anything. So now I'm like, oh my gosh. And luckily it's Friday, and I didn't really have to work, so called off of work, or you know, took vacation for that day as well, because I was just gonna go buy a new phone. But I'm also thinking, hey, like, I already agreed to go on this blind date to the movies, but now I have no phone, so I don't even know maybe if she's trying to, if my friend at work is trying to text me to say, hey, we're meeting earlier, or hey, we're meeting at this restaurant first, or hey, we're anything. Like, I have no phone to do that. I'm like, oh gosh. And so I figure out a way to, because I was using Google Messages on my phone, so I figure out a way to sync up my messages with my Gmail account on the computer. Luckily, I had to, you know, turn my phone on and off multiple times, because I could only use it for 20 seconds before it started getting really laggy and overheating and stuff. And like, to keep it being cool, I tried to get like a pack of, you know, frozen hot dogs from the freezer and put my phone on the frozen hot dogs and to keep it cold, and that wasn't really working, and it was all a mess. And anyway, so it was able to get my messages synced up, so I at least could text from my computer to my friend to say, hey, I'm trying to get a new phone, or I'm going to go get a new phone. Please let me know if you guys are meeting at another time or what, because I already knew what time the movie was and where it was, but still, anyway. So I go to I know this is kind of a big tangent from the topic. Like I said, this video is gonna be a little long. I'm sorry, but I had to share it because I haven't really told everyone the full stories of all this. Anyway, so I go to the Xfinity store because that's what I have my phone through. And I don't know if you guys have ever tried driving to new places that you've never been to without a phone and GPS, because that's stressful too. I had to look up on the computer where it was. I had to try to memorize, like, okay, then I'm going to turn right on this random road, and I'm going to turn left. And I'm driving out there, and it's like, I don't know where I'm going, and I'm missing roads, and anyway, it's bad. Always have GPS, unless you just like getting lost all the time, I guess. But I get to the store, and I walk in, and I'm like, hey, I'm hitting my phone. I tell him all the story, and he's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't keep it charged during that. I'm like, yeah, I know that, but also, like, anyway, I know that, but I had other reasons that I wasn't trying to get into of why I needed to have my phone on and what was going on, and anyway. So he's like, yeah, we can get you a new phone, and I was like, I'm looking for the S25, because it, came out recently, and I kind of just want a new phone so it can last another 7 years, basically, because I'm not one to buy a phone every year. And he's like, yeah, sounds good. And he's doing all the stuff, and then he's looking up the account stuff, and he's like, yeah, and okay, so we need your mom's social security number. And that threw me off, because I have the phone plan through my family, and so like, my mom was the one that set up the account, or she's like the account owner, and then we're all just like managers on the account. But it was just cheaper that way to just have this big phone plan with our full family. So I was like, whoa, like, why do you need her social security? And she's the owner, blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm a manager on the plan. Like, he's like, nope, doesn't matter, we need her social security number. And I'm like thinking, like, well, this is like kind of sketchy, like, and I don't want to call on a phone to have my mom give me her social, like, social security numbers are sketchy, right? So anyway, and I'm like trying to argue with him, like, no, you don't need this, and he's like adamant and getting mad at me or whatever. So finally I'm like, well, okay, fine, let me call my mom then, let me have a phone to borrow, because mine obviously doesn't work. And he dead eyes me and says, we don't have a phone here. And I thought he was joking, because this is a phone store. There's phones all over the place. There's a phone number on google.com for this store. How do people call the store if he has no phone here? And I laughed at his face, because I thought he's joking, and I was already pissed off, and he was already pissed off. And then I realized he was serious, and I'm like, wow, you are serious? And he's like, yeah, we have no phone here you can use. And I'm like, you're telling me that in this store of phones you have no landline that I can use? He's like, yep, we have no landline you can use. And then so I was like, okay, well, I see why you are rated a 1.5 out of 5 on Google. I understand that now. You missed out on $1,000 sale. Goodbye. And anyway, so I was pissed. So I drove back home, and it's still like noon or something, and the date is like at 6:30. I'm like, oh gosh, still have no phone. So then I'm like, okay, well, let me just try to go to Best Buy. Oh, also, I was talking to Pind as well. He knows some phone stuff, and so Pind was saying that guy's an idiot, blah blah blah. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You should be able to just go to Best Buy and buy an unlocked phone, and that should work. I'm like, okay, great, this is awesome. And so once again, I had to Google where Best Buy was and find out how to get there. Finally, I get there, and I go tell the guy, here's what's happening, and hopefully you can help me out, because the Xfinity guy pissed me off, and you guys are my next option, so don't piss me off. And he's like, yeah, no worries, we have that phone, you can buy it straight up. Yep, unlocked phone, no big deal. I'm like, okay, great. And so I buy the phone, and then I was asking him, like, well, can you like transfer the, my contacts and my apps from my other phone to my new one? He's like, yeah, the Geek Squad over there can do it. So go over to Geek Squad. Luckily they had an opening. I tell the guy what's going on, and so he's trying to turn on my phone, and as you guys know, my phone would work for like 30 seconds and then just start getting so overheated and laggy it couldn't do anything. So anyway, he tried for like 2 hours constantly turning on and off the phone, starting the Samsung switch connection whatever thing to transfer all my apps and contacts. Wouldn't work. Anyway, so I just say, okay, let's give up. And I go home with my new phone. My new phone works, and able to text someone that I knew their number off the top of my head instead of on the contacts. You don't memorize people's numbers, so I had to text someone that I had text my brother, and so we got that all figured out, which is good. But now I still don't have my contacts and my apps and all that from my old phone. So for the next 2 or 3 hours, I would cool down my phone, start it up, instantly start writing down on a Excel document all the contacts that I do text, all the people that I do text, and writing down their numbers manually. And then my phone would overheat. I couldn't use it. Stick it in the freezer for another 5 minutes, and bring it out, and constant cycle over and over. And I had to write down all the apps that I had to write down everything as best as I could. I still had, I'm sure, pictures on there that I don't have anymore, and I have contacts. I only brought over like 10% of my contacts, the ones that I actually do talk to, and so all those other ones are lost, and I'm sure I didn't get all my apps, and it's all just a hassle, right? Logging into all the new apps again, making sure all those work. And anyway, finally I have a new phone, it works. Anyway, now I know that was a long tangent, but it's a crazy story. Getting a new phone, normally it would be pretty easy, but now we are on to the first date. So I had to do research of where this place was, because I don't like driving to places I don't know, because I don't know where to park. And in our city, it's a lot of parking is paid. You have to do the meter, or you have to do an app or whatever, and I'm like, I hate that, and I don't know how to do it because I've never done it before, because I don't go to downtown. So it's all this annoyance, but I'm trying to do Google Maps and double check where I'm going to go and where I'm going to park, and I have to get there early enough and all that. Let's see, I think so the movie was at 7-ish, and I think the movie started at 6:30. 6:45. Movie started at 6:45. We were gonna get there at 6:30, and it would have been good. So I got there a little bit earlier because, once again, I need to know where I'm parking. I found a spot to park. It was free, but there were signs that said you might get towed. So I'm like, oh, this is sketchy already. It's 100 degrees outside, and so I'm waiting outside the theater. It's 6:20, and keep in mind, I don't know what this girl looks like. I only know what my friend looks like, and she's coming with because they're going to watch a movie together and invited me along. And so I'm waiting outside. It's 6:30, and I'm seeing random girls walk up to go to the movies or walk by. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe this is her. No, that's not her. Oh, well, maybe, because I only know. No, I don't even know her name. Well, maybe I know her name. Yeah, I don't remember actually if I knew her name or not. But still, I don't know what she looks like. I'm not going to just talk to every random girl and say oh, are you the girl? Anyway, so I'm waiting there at 6:30. It's 100 degrees outside, so I'm sweating. So I go stand inside, and I tell my friend, I'm like, hey, I'm inside. Let me know. And she's like, okay, I'm late. Blah blah. And then 6:30, 6:40, 6:50, 7 o'clock, and it's I know there's 25 minutes of previews in the movies, but it's still it's 15 minutes past movie start time, and it's they're still not here. And then finally at 7:10, or maybe it's 7:05, 7:10, they walk in there's the woman I'm meeting. We're gonna call her Sarah for the rest of this. And so my friend's like, oh, here's Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. And it's kind of weird, meeting someone new. First I was like, make sure I remember her name, right? So sometimes when you meet people, you kind of instantly forget their name, and then later on you're like, oh shoot, what was that person's name? Because you don't know if they're going to be part of your lives for a while, or if it's just like a random meeting that you're never going to see them again. So sometimes my brain just shuts out people's name. Luckily, I said her name over and over in my head for like 10 seconds after I met her, so I didn't have that awkward situation of not knowing her name. So I knew her name. But then it's still like we're kind of rushed. Like, we can't just stand around gabbing. We have to go into the movie, And so it's like, oh, nice to meet you. And her friend was pretty, and she's taller, which I guess I'm on the taller side, so that's good. Not that I care that much about heights or whatever, but so that was nice. But then it's like, oh, do you guys want popcorn or snacks? Like, I'll buy it because they bought my ticket because they're going to this movie, and so I was going to buy. And Sarah was like, no, I don't need anything. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. Like, no worries. And my friend wanted popcorn, so I bought her popcorn, and then we went into the movie, and it was really nice. Like, I was following both of them, and then my friend, like, they got tickets in the back of the theater, so then my friend, like, let me go after Sarah. So as Sarah was on my left, I was in the middle, and then my friend from work was on the right, and so that was kind of funny. And I hadn't eaten all day, so because of all this phone issue, I was kind of getting hungry because I hadn't eaten in like 24 hours or so, and I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna go get some M&Ms because I need at least something. And I double checked with Sarah and my friend, like, hey, you guys sure you don't need anything else? Like, no, we're good. So then I go get M&Ms, and then come back, and so there was like one preview that played, so luckily we were able to start the movie from the start, and we didn't miss it. But this whole time, at movies, it's tough to try to get to know people because it's a movie, right? You can't just like sit there and like try to talk to people. You're supposed to be there to watch the movie. So during the the preview or two, I was trying to ask Sarah, oh, like, have you heard anything about this movie, or what kind of movies do you like? And trying to at least get some information, because like I thought we were going to be there early enough to at least talk for like 30 minutes before the movie even started, but they showed up 30 minutes late, and that's what happened. So and I'm getting just a few responses back. Like, she seems really shy, right? And I'm already really shy, and so it's like two random shy people that never goes well, right? So anyway, oh, and also I gotta point this out, I forgot, when I met her, and then like walking behind her and stuff, like, she had on some fragrance that was just so nice. It was like intoxicating almost, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, I have a lot of colognes because, I mean, cologne is nice and smells good, and it's fun to collect colognes and all that, and so I really appreciate nice smells, and especially nice smells on women. I know this is all like kind of creepy or whatever, but like, even women I don't even like know, if someone walks by and they smell good, I say things usually, and same with guys too. I mean, some guy has cologne on or whatever, I'm like, oh, that smells really good, like, you smell great, like, what kind of cologne is it? I don't know, that's just my thing. I just really enjoy nice smells, and so she smelled amazing. But I don't want to be in the theater and be like, oh, hey, like, oh, you smell so good, like, and try to be creepy about everything, and and so I wasn't trying to be there to just shower her with compliments or anything, because we're just meeting, we don't know anything about each other. Anyway, this is going on too long because there's tons more story to get to. Anyway, so the movie gets done, and it's funny, we were watching The Materialist, and if you guys haven't seen The Materialist, it's basically where this woman is a matchmaker, where she is a dating agency person that, oh, this guy sent in his resume, he's 6'1", makes $5 million a year, and he'll be good for my clients over here. You know, she matches them up. And I thought that was kind of funny because my friend basically did the same thing. You know, it's like she is matching us up. And anyway, I thought that was a funny coincidence. So the movie gets done, and as soon as the credits start, they both start trying to like get up to leave, and which I guess is fine for normal people, but most of the time, at least with my other friends, when we go to the movies, we stay for basically the entire credits. I mean, yeah, Marvel movies do, you know, scenes at the end, but even normal movies, we usually stay for most or all of the credits because we like to just sit there and talk about it, or if it's good music or it's whatever, right? And so it's like credits roll, and they're like, that movie was amazing. Okay, let's go. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, wait, like, let's chill. Like, calm down. Why do we have to leave somewhere right now? Like, let's just chill. And so I made them like wait, at least for most of the credits, to like at least try to talk about the movie. And I don't know, the movie was fine, but they both like really loved it. They're like, oh my god, that movie was amazing. And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, to each their own. That's fine. I thought it's fine. It's not anything great, and I thought it was gonna be funnier, but it wasn't. It was more drama. Anyway, so finally we like leave, and then it's the awkward like, my friend parked this way. Oh, okay, you're parking that way, and I parked to the left, and so did Sarah, and so it's like, okay, bye to my friend at work, and now we're kind of like walking ourselves to our cars, and like it's awkward and stuff as well, you know, and I'm trying to be like, oh, I had fun, you know, I'd like to see you again, because, you know, meeting at a movie, you don't get to talk much. And she's like, yeah, I agree, blah blah. And then it's like, well, I parked over here, and like once again, I'm not trying to be this person that's like, oh, I have to kiss her, and I have to do this or that. No, it's like we're barely meeting as strangers. And so I shook her hand, and I was like, well, I had a good time. Maybe we can do this again sometime or something. She's like, yeah, sounds good. So it's like, you know, most people be like, oh, you should have walked her to her car, make sure she got there safe, because it's dark out and it's a city. But it's like, she would think that's even more creepy. Like, I don't, you know what, like, I don't know. Maybe I made a mistake there. You can roast me in the comments if I'm making mistakes through all of this. But anyway, and so, yeah, it was good to meet someone, and she was pretty, you know, prettier than I deserve for sure, and all that. And then so the next day I was like thinking, oh, should I text my friend and be like, hey, you know, like I liked your friend, like can we like try to set up something, you know? And I was like, nah, knowing my friend from work, she's more of the social butterfly, and I was like, oh, she's probably gonna reach out to me and ask like, oh, so how was Sarah? And I was like, you know, anyway, so I was waiting for that text, and sure enough, it did come. She's like, oh, so what'd you think of Sarah? And I was like, you know, to be honest, it's tough to get to know someone right away, especially at a movie when you can't even talk very much. And you know, she's like, blah blah blah, and so I, you know, so it was all the honest things. And then she's like, yeah, that's kind of what she was saying. That's what Sarah was saying to me as well. You know, it was a good first impression, but she wants to talk to you more and wants to, you know, maybe hang out another time that isn't a movie thing and all that. And then my friend texts me, and she's like, okay, so do you want her number? And I'm like, well, you know, like if Sarah wasn't feeling it, I don't want to be like, yeah, give me your number, and then I'm this creep guy that's trying to text her when she wasn't feeling it. So I kind of worded it that way to my friend, like, hey, you know, as long as Sarah is fine with it, yeah, I would be interested in getting her number and texting her and trying to set up another time that we can meet. And she's like, yep, that sounds good. She, you know, my friend said, yeah, it sounds good. Sarah, give me her number to give to you, so here it is. And it was just her first name, you know, Sarah. There's no last name, so it's not like I could Facebook stalk and try to, you know, look her up or whatever, right? So anyway, so then later that night, so that was kind of in the morning of Saturday, later that night I texted Sarah, and I was just like, hey, this is Ben, my friend, give me your number to text you, something like that. And then I was going to my other friend's house to watch a movie, and they're a couple, and so they were really interested in that I met a woman, and they're trying to give me advice of like, oh, you gotta text her now, you gotta say this, and like just text her and say, hey, let's hang out in a few days. And I'm like, whoa, this is way too fast. I want to be more slow about it, because that's just this is all new to me, and that's kind of just what I do. I don't know, I do slow. I like to take it slow. And they're like, no, just text her, like, whatever. So I think, well, so I had already sent the, okay, no. Oh, this is what it was. So I texted Sarah Saturday night, not way late, like Saturday at like 4 or 5 p.m. And she texted back like an hour later, and it was just like, hi. And and then, so that's when I was having the conversation with my friends, and they're like, no, text her right now, like, hey, let's hang out this week, blah, 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 right? So I give into peer pressure, and I send the text, and it's funny because we're watching a movie, and my friends, and they're like, we don't see you texting her, you better be texting her, like, you better and I'm like, I don't know what to say. It was pretty funny. Anyway, so I end up texting her. I'm like, hey, I had a great time. I would like to hang out again, and maybe we can do that sometime this week or next weekend. And don't hear anything from her the rest of the night. And then the next day, don't hear anything from her for many hours. So it took her like 24 hours almost to respond. And I was like, oh gosh, like that's not a good sign. Anyway, she says, like, yes, I'd like to hang out. Sorry it took me so long to respond. I was at a concert. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But also, like, I mean, it took 24 hours. The concert's not 24 hours, right? And I don't know. Anyway, so let's think of where we are. So then we kind of talked a little bit more. Like, I don't like to wait that long. I don't respond right away to text. I kind of let it sit for a little bit while I'm thinking of what to say. But I'm not going to wait out. I'm not going to play the game, right? Like, the game back in the high school was like, oh, if you text more frequently or faster, like, it shows like you're trying to, be more interested and clingy. And like the game, you have to like delay your text and not text back for 5 hours, and you have to make them want it, all this dumb game stuff, right? So I don't like doing that, but I also don't like to text back 30 seconds after, even if I see it right away. I kind of like let it sit for a little bit while I think about what I want to say. So I text, but then she takes hours and hours to respond, and like even the next day sometimes. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. Like, for the most part, like, is she trying to play the game, or is this just like normal? Or, what girl is not on her phone 24/7, right? Like, come on, right? And so this would go on for like a week, and it was like one text a day every 20 hours or so. And it's like, okay, she's not feeling it, this is fine. So I would give her an out. I would said something like, I'm picking up on a distant vibe. If you're not feeling this, that's totally fine, but just let me know so I don't keep like reaching out and bothering you, right? Like that's kind of how I worded it. It's like, I don't want to keep like, oh yeah, if she's just like getting the ick constantly and was like, oh, I'm just sending him a pity text every 24 hours. But she kept saying like, no, I just don't like to text very much, I'm not good at texting, and well, I'm like, well, okay, for sure. But then like the next weekend, things fell through. She was too busy or something, and we couldn't do anything. And so, but still, just like one text every day, and I'm like, this is just weird. Like, I don't know. And so, once again, kind of gave her another out. Like, hey, this is just not normal, right? Like, if you're trying to get to know someone, you would want to text them more, or at least try to want to hang out more, or anything, right? And no, yeah, I'm just busy and I don't like texting. Okay, fine. And then she sent me like 5 texts in one day, back and forth. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. Like, I called her out on it, I guess. Then now she's maybe afraid that she would lose me or whatever, and so now she's just trying to pick it up again. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then like the next day she doesn't text me, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess, I don't know. Maybe she got all her texts out that day. I don't know. And then she started sending me voice messages, which kind of threw me off, but is actually really nice because then I could like hear her voice and all that, and so then we'd do like voice messages back and forth, but still once a day. And then so finally I set up like just a coffee date, like, hey, let's just go get coffee at this place just for like an hour and just talk a little bit face to face. And she agreed, and I was like, oh wow, she agreed, this is great. And so this is like, let's see, we met on like a Friday, and so this is like 2 weeks later, because the week after that meeting she was busy. The week after that, I think, is when we tried to hang out. So set up the coffee date, and once again I had to Google like good coffee places kind of closer to where I think she lived, because she didn't tell me her address or anything, but I didn't want to go too far away from her. I didn't want her to drive way a long time. And so I'm trying to like do more research, like, is this a good coffee place, and where do I park, and all that overthinking stress nonsense. And so pick a date, pick a time, more of like the man should do, like, hey, 3 p.m. Saturday, this place. And she says, okay, sounds good. And that was like back on a Thursday, because it only takes we only text once a day, so it's not like I can just say, hey, is this place good, because it takes a day for her to respond. And so I had to kind of plan it ahead in case she didn't like that or couldn't go that time. So anyway, she said, yeah, that sounds good. And so then Saturday comes, the day of the date. I'm getting ready. I'm kind of a little nervous as well, and I'm showering, make sure I get good cologne, smell good, look as good as I can, even though I don't look good, and all this. I'm ready to go, about to head to my car. And then she texts me. She's like, yeah, I'm not feeling great, so maybe we can postpone this. And I mean, to be honest, like, I wanted to see her, of course, but also now that I don't have to be put in this pressure situation that I'm never in. And so that was fine with me as well. Like, yeah, that's fine, even though I wanted to see her. But most of the time when girls blow you off, if they aren't interested, they won't say something else. They'll just say, oh, sorry, not this time, and won't try to make another plan. So she at least made another plan, was like, hey, but let's see if we can maybe go on a walk, on Monday after work. And I was like, oh, this would be romantic. This is nice. Like, we'll both get done with work, and then we'll just meet up, and we'll just walk around the city or walk around a lake or something. Like, this is good. And so Monday comes, and like, I hadn't heard anything from her. I would have assumed like she would have texted me in the morning and said like, hey, I'm feeling better, let's try to walk after work. And so I text after work like, hey, I haven't heard from you, hopefully you're feeling better, like, you still want to walk? And she's like, I'm still not feeling great, so maybe like tomorrow or maybe another time. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm still living my normal life, so it's not like it's bothering that much. But also, like, if you want to see someone, I don't know. And so I believed her that she was not feeling well. It's not like I thought she was lying or anything, but it's still like, I don't know. So fast forward more and more, we still are only texting like once a day, which was kind of weird to me and a little annoying. But then I kind of started changing my perspective on it, and I actually started liking it, because I was like, instead of getting like 20 presents a day or 20 little presents a day or something, like, that would get tiring over a while. It's like, oh great, I got another 20 presents, like, oh, this person's constantly talking to me, like, that can get overwhelming to me. Like, I like my space. And so once a day, I was kind of like, it was giving me something to look forward to, and it was kind of nice. And I was trying to change my perspective on it, and that was working. Let's see. So then finally we set up a time, probably like that weekend. So it's been like 3 weeks since we saw each other at the movies, and finally set up another time to go on a walk around a park. And I had to have her suggest the park because I'm a guy. I don't just go around to parks and walk around, you know? So I didn't know what park was good. I didn't know where to go. And she has a dog, and so she knows where to go for the parks and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. We'll meet there. And so I suggested, so she gave me some options of parks, and then I suggested a park that was closer to her, and then I suggested a time. I said, hey, does 4 o'clock at this park work? And she said, yes, sounds good. And then that was it for like the day before the park. So then the day of the park, I guess I should have reached out and said like, hey, are we still good for this time? But I just assumed we already agreed on the time, we're good to go. And so I'm driving out there to the park because once again, I had to research the park. I had to know where to park at the park. And so I'm doing this stuff, and I'm gonna get there a little bit early, because I don't know where to meet her, and like anyway, so I'm like almost there. It's like 3:45, and I'm almost there, and she texts me, and she's like, "Hey, are we still good for the park? I didn't get any confirmation from you." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like so sorry. Yes, we are. Like I should have texted you this morning, but you know." I just assumed we were good from our last conversation, basically, because I suggested the time and she agreed. To me, that means we both agreed on the time. I don't have to then re-agree to the time I already suggested, right? Like that doesn't make sense to me. I suggested a time, that meant I'm free at that time, and if she agrees, boom. And so it's like she didn't even assume to get ready to go to the park. She just assumed it was off because she didn't hear anything from me, even though we agreed the day before on the time, right? And so I was like really confused. I mean, I apologize and stuff. Like, next time I'll double affirm, I guess. Anyway, so she shows up like 45 minutes late, or an hour late almost, which, you know, I'll take some blame for that. But also, like, wouldn't you try to be ready for that time if we had agreed the day before? Like, just because you don't hear something, I don't know, right? You can let me know in the comments if that's wrong thinking. But anyway, so I was just sitting around at the park for an hour. Finally, she shows up, and this whole time, you know, I only saw her at the movies for a little bit, and the movies are dark, and I only saw her outside when it was dark for a little bit, and so I kind of was forgetting her face of what she looked like for 3 weeks, right? Because I didn't have a last name, so I couldn't stalk her or try to find out. And I mean, trust me, I did, but I only had a first name. I couldn't really go very far with a first name. And so finally, like, she showed up with her dog and got to see her again, but she still had like sunglasses on and all that, so it's like still couldn't see her face that well. Anyway, we had a good walk. It's a big park, walk around. We walked around like twice, maybe just once. No, I think twice. And it was pretty good. I mean, I'm not the best conversationalist, and so, you know, there's a couple of silent pauses, and then I'm thinking like, oh, is it my turn to talk? Like, or should I wait for her to say something? And so, just taking a pause in the story right now, all this time for 3 weeks, you know, we've only texted once a day, but she wasn't asking like any questions like that were not reciprocals of the questions I asked. So I would ask her, you know, oh, do you like to read? What books are you in? Blah, blah, blah. And then she would talk and then ask me, oh, do you like to read? Blah, blah. And so it was all just reciprocals, which is fine. But after a while, it kind of gets annoying. Like, do you not have any questions you want to ask me to, you know, get to know me more, right? Like, I'm always the one coming up with the, like, what movies do you like? What shows do you like? Do you like this kind of food? Like, all these lighter questions, but, you know, and she, like, never once was like, oh, what do you like about that? You know, nothing. It was, like, reciprocal. And so that kind of same thing happened at the walk, and it's like, I'm walking around and trying to think of topics to talk about, and, you know, we talked work and all that, and then she would ask me how my work was, and that's fine. I mean, reciprocals are fine, but also, like, I don't know, just if you're interested in someone, you would want to find out all you can about them, and to do that you have to ask questions, basically. Anyway, so we walked around for like an hour, and then it started to rain, so then we kind of called it. And once again, it's like, I didn't want to just shower her with compliments. Like, she looked good and she smelled good, and I didn't want to just be creepy about that, because, you know, that's not who I am. That's not how I was raised. I'm not, I don't know, I'm just not confident enough to give women compliments like that, because I'm trying to get to know them and not just like, oh my god, you're so pretty, you're so pretty. Like, I don't know. So anyway, so we like called it, and then I was thinking about like maybe I should try to give her a hug, but no, then I shook her hand again. And she laughed at that, which I thought was like, yeah, maybe she was waiting for a hug or something. But anyway, I was like, oh, that's kind of awkward. But so that was the walk date, and that was better. But and then I thought, you know, we've met again, like maybe she's gonna open up more and text a few more times. No, still just one text a day, one text a day. Finally, I find out that she's into golf, and golf is a sport I played for like 25 years of my life, and I'm pretty good at it, and I love doing it, and I know everything about it. And anyway, like, that would be a really fun date. Like, she had her own clubs, and she was getting better at golf, and she would go play golf with her friends and practice some stuff. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like, growing up, I saw all the golf girls, you know, on the range and at tournaments, and I'm just like, they're so pretty and cute and adorable, and I love it. And so I'm like, eventually I want to find a girl that I can golf with. Like, that would just be a perfect date. Like, we'd just go golf all the time, and this would be great. And so when I found out she golfed, I was like super excited. And I let her know that, like, oh, you know, whenever you want, like when you're free, like I'd love to go to the range with you and, you know, hit some golf balls, or even go play, or, you know, whatever. Like, I kind of put it into her court though, like, because a golf outing is maybe a little crazy, it's a long time or whatever, or I just put it in her court to be like, when you're free and you want to go practice golf, like, let me know and I'll come join, and this would be a great time. But she like never like took me up on that offer, because, like, I don't know, maybe she was embarrassed that she wasn't as good or something. But I mean, not to sound braggy, but most people are not as good, so like, come on, like, yeah, anyway. So she's into golf and all that, but okay, so then it's still just like one text a day, and she was getting a new job, which is fine, but she's kind of stressed out about her new job, and once again, it's still just one text a day, and I invited her kind of like last minute to this county fair that I was going with my friend and his girlfriend. It was going to be like kind of like a little double date. And last minute, meaning I texted her like at 5 p.m. the night before the county fair that was going to be at like 2 p.m. the next day, right? So she had all of, let's say it was Thursday night, I think. She had all of Thursday night to see the text, all of Friday morning to see the text, and then 1 or 2 p.m. was going to be the county fair. And I had to know so I could like buy her tickets or whatever. And she doesn't respond all of Thursday, doesn't respond all of Friday morning. And then like 30 minutes before we were going to meet at county fair, not that she had agreed to meet, but just like 30 minutes before I even suggest like the time to meet at the county fair, it was like, oh yeah, sorry, I'm busy or something. I'm like, okay, great. Like, I got that, but you could have let me know last night and just say like, hey, no, thanks for the invite, I'm busy, or something. But it's like 30 minutes before, oh, sorry, I'm busy, sounds like fun though. And I'm like, I don't know. That's just like, it's so weird and like probably a little rude. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to just think that she's never on her phone, like, because what person these days is not on their phone at least a couple times? And if you just, I don't know. It was just so weird to me that it would take so long to, you know, get responses from her sometimes. So anyway, so that was a failed date right there. And then still, once we're talking one day, and then something came up that, like, for her new job, she was taking this like personality test, to see maybe how she fits in with people or whatever, right? And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I asked her about like the Harry Potter test, because I've never done the Harry Potter test, and that's a big thing, and she likes Harry Potter. And so she's like, oh my gosh, you've never done the Harry Potter test, you have to do it, blah blah blah. And so I did the Harry Potter test, and then I told her that I did it. And then she was like, oh, which house are you? And then she was asking me to guess her house, which is kind of weird because we've only like seen each other twice, and we've only texted like a total of 20 times because it's been like 20 days, so, or whatever. Anyway, so we do that stuff, but then and then I asked her about her other personality test. I was like, oh, I've never taken one of those. Like, I'm just trying to get some interest, in her stuff that she's doing. And so I'd asked, like, oh, what kind of test are you doing? And she sent me like a link to something that was similar, and so I did it, and found out what kind of personality thing I am, which I kind of already knew, but it's like, here's all your detailed stats. And she asked about it, which is interesting. She actually asked about it, and so I sent her my personality things, and I asked about hers. I'm like, what's your personalities? And she doesn't respond to me, so I'm like, okay, well, I guess maybe she's insecure about her personalities or something, I don't know. But it's like, you asked for mine, I send you mine, then I ask, and then you don't send. And it's like, oh, this is not how it works. Like, we're supposed to be reciprocal, right? We're supposed to, anyway. So and let's just pause on the story real quick again. Is this whole time that we're talking, and we sent half of them as voice messages, and we ramble for 4 or 5 minutes on the voice messages, and we try to ask questions in there. I would listen to her voice messages multiple times to make sure I responded correctly to whatever questions she asked, or whatever thing she was talking about, right? I didn't just do one listen through and then be like, okay. But it seemed like she only did one listen through, and then she kept forgetting questions that I had asked. I had asked questions, and then I would get a response, 12, 15, 20 hours later, and she's like, oh, well, I don't remember exactly what she said, but I think, and it's like, if you don't remember, just listen to the clip again for 3 minutes, and then you would know. Like I'm not interested enough to like have you listen to the clip to make sure you're answering my question, like that was kind of rude, I thought. Like, I mean, I'm not asking her to just sit there constantly listening to my voice message for the question, but like, take a little bit of time to double check. Oh yeah, he asked this question. And so there was all these questions I had asked her throughout this month, basically, of trying to talk to her, that she just never answered, because she would just, oh yeah, I don't remember what you said on your voice message, and she kept saying, you can let me know if I missed anything, and that's fine, but I'm not going to just sit there keep asking the same question over and over, hoping that one of these questions will stick and that she would answer it, so that was kind of annoying this whole time as well. Anyway, so then we were setting up another date for like another weekend. We were going to go to the movies again, because I like going to the movies, and she wanted to see Superman, which is the movie that was coming out. And I had already seen Superman with my other friends, but it's a pretty good one, and so I was like, oh, this would be a fun movie. And so I gave her the time, I got the tickets, she agreed, and she actually showed up earlier than I did for once. And I told her at 7 o'clock. The movie started at 7:15 or 10, whatever. Well, I think the movie started at 7. We showed up at 7 because there's 25 minutes of previews. Anyway, and so this time I was like, oh, I'm gonna be fun, or I'm gonna be funny and just go to the store and buy flowers and give her flowers at the movie. I thought that would be kind of funny, because what girl doesn't like flowers? And she's probably not expecting it at the movie theater. And anyway, so I get there, she looks great. She just had her nails done. Her nails look great. I complimented on her nails. I No, did I compliment her on her nails? No, I did, yeah. Anyway, and then, you know, we watched the movie, and once again, it's like, I'm trying to ask her a couple questions in the previews, and it's just not as interested back, it just seems like. And anyway, so we get done with the movie, and then we're walking outside, and I had asked, like, hey, you know, I'd like to see you again. Maybe we can go to the museum, or maybe we can go golfing. And she was like really excited, like, oh yeah, we should go golfing sometime. That'd be great. I'm like, oh, perfect. Like, this is what I'm hoping for. We can go golf. And so then I gave her a hug, and it kind of felt awkward. Like, it wasn't one of those hugs that, like, you know, you haven't seen someone for a long time and you get this big hug. It was just like a really timid, awkward, shy, barely contact hug, which is fine. Maybe she's shy, maybe I'm shy, whatever, but, or maybe she just didn't want it. I don't know. I don't read the room. I don't know what's happening. So then, you know, I text her later that night. Hopefully you got home safe. Had a good time. Want to see you again? Yeah. Well, she didn't respond because she, you know, would respond the next day because she could only text once a day. And then, let's see. I'm going to do a pause in the story real quick. Alright, so then, like the next week, or like, you know, that was a weekend, so then the next week she was starting like her new job, so she had warned me like, hey, you know, texting's gonna be a little delayed, which I thought was pretty funny because we're only texting once a day anyway, so I'm all thinking, how more delayed is it gonna be? Oh my gosh. So, but at least she warned me because, yeah, she would take like 2 days to respond. I'm like, great, now we're texting every 2 days. And, you know, like I said, I was trying to get on board with the one texted thing, and it was fine, but then I started just realizing this pattern that started, which she would just text me the one time, and it would just be mostly, oh, I'm so tired, and I'm stressed about my job, and talking about her job. And that's all fine. You can do that. That's great. I'd like to listen and I'd like to help, whatever. But we waste our one text on, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so busy. And then wait 2 days. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so busy. And it's just like, I know, I understand, but like, let's try to get to know each other if we only have once every 2 days to talk, you know? And so that was getting annoying to me. And I kind of had, you know, mentioned early on, like, you know, I'd just like to get to know you more, so I'd like to talk to you more, so I'd like to get more texts from you, basically. Like, I don't know, I wasn't trying to like change her or anything, but I'm just trying to hint at, hey, this one text thing it's just not working. Like, it's gonna take years for us to even like know each other, you know, if we only text once a day and hang out once every couple weeks or whatever it is. So anyway, and so I know it's stressful for a new job, and just trying to be there, listen to her, and I wasn't trying to put more pressure on and be like, oh, let's hang out today, oh, let's hang out. So kind of just waiting. So then finally, like, she asked about politics, which is interesting because this whole time for a month and a half, like, she's only asked like one question that wasn't a reciprocal or wasn't, how was your day? So I was like kind of thrown off, like, wow, like, of all the questions you could have asked, like, I mean, which is good though. I thought it was a good sign that she's asking about politics, because maybe she's thinking this could get more like more serious technically, because like you know, if you don't align on like politics or religion or other big things, then relationships kind of break, I think. And so we had already talked about religion earlier, which we brought up pretty early on, and we kind of aligned on that pretty well, which is great. And then politics, we aligned on that pretty well as well. And those are, you know, those are tough conversations to have, especially if you don't align and then you're trying to prove your point or talk about things. Anyway, so we kind of aligned on both of the two big ones, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And maybe like now she's gonna show more interest, and it's gonna be, nope, it's still the same. You know, one text a day, maybe one text every 2 days. She's busy, she's stressed. Like, I get it. So finally I asked her if she wants to go to the museum, and she agreed, and it was just gonna be this like nature and science museum, you know, so like some animal stuff, dinosaurs, you know, mummies, gems, whatever, right? And so she agreed, and I got there, bought the tickets online, got there, texted her that I was there. I got there, you know, a few minutes early, I'm ready. And then she's like, oh, I'm late, I'm in traffic, blah, blah, which is fine, I get it. Shows up like 30 minutes late. That's like fine, I guess. And then she shows up, I give her a little like side hug, and then she's just like, oh yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm like really low energy and tired today. And I'm like thinking, oh great, here we go. Like, I know you're tired every day. Every single person in the world is tired all the time, but like, I get it. Like, come on. Like, anyway, so then we're in the museum, and this is kind of where I saw that just things would not work out. Like, this whole time I've been trying, you know, to ask questions. I've been trying to be energetic about things. I've been trying to set up times and dates, and I've been trying, you know, and she's not really reciprocating that as much. You know, she'd, you know, text once a day, you know what I mean? Like, it just showed like I was showing more interest in this and trying to make this work than she was, which is fine. But anyway, so then at the museum, this is what kind of annoyed me, is like, the museum is full of, I mean, artifacts and anything you can look at, you can try to make a conversation about, I think. I mean, it's just endless supply of interesting topics. You go to the gems, and you're like, whoa, look at this crazy quartz that this person found in 1700. Like, can you imagine digging around in the ground, and you find this quartz, and then you get it, you bring it back home, you polish it up, and like now it's in a museum like hundreds of years later. Like, isn't this so cool? Like, anything you can think of, right? Dinosaurs. What's your favorite dinosaur? Have you seen this dinosaur movie? Blah, blah, blah. Mummies. Have you seen the mummy movies? Have you, you know, been anywhere in the world? Like, have you been to Egypt? Have you been to South Africa, South America, whatever, right? Like, there's unlimited potential for conversation in the museum. Or so I thought. But no, she's just walking around, arms crossed most of the time, looking at some things, and it's all silent. And I'm like, what? And I'm the one trying to be like, oh, like trying to make like a joke about things. Like, it's more for kids technically. Like, the museum is, you know, more geared toward kids, and so I'm trying to make light of the fact that, you know, this is some silly space thing that it's for a kid, and I'm trying to be funny about it, or I'm trying to do it, and like, she's just like not having it. And like I said, maybe it's just because she was low energy, but if you are trying to, this is what I think. If you are serious about trying to be in a relationship or get to know someone, or you like someone, or you're trying to progress or whatever, even if you're tired, you're going to try to show interest. At least fake it until you make it. That's the thing. It's like, I get you're tired, but if we were in a relationship and it's 6 months down the road, and then you say you're tired, that's fine. Then you can just say you're tired and you don't have to do anything. Done. But like, this is like a third little hangout, quote unquote, date. I don't even know if it's called a date because we haven't done anything like romantic or anything, but it's like, try at least, like, I know you're tired, but like, make light of the fact that you're tired, and like try to be tired and fun, or, I don't know, right? And so it was just stressing me out the whole time, because I'm the one trying to bring up conversations about things, and then I feel awkward because she's just not reciprocating it. I'm trying to be, you know, funny about something just to get her to laugh, or, you know, whatever, and it's just like, she's just not having it. And I keep apologizing. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, like, if I'm being too excited or whatever, and no, you're fine. I know you're fine. It's like, well, I guess, but like, Anyway, then it was funny. Then the fire alarm goes off. It's probably just some kid pulled it or something. And it was like, we were only like an hour into our museum, or maybe not even an hour, 45 minutes or so. And then we're kind of like, you know, not everyone's like panicking because like people are trying to leave, but then there's a lot of people just staying even though the fire alarm is blaring, and we're kind of like confused. Like there's no guards that are telling us you have to evacuate the building, you have to evacuate, nothing. But this brought up a story that she told me about when she was in a fire, in like there's a fire in her building or around her building. And so she actually told a nice story that lasted for like 5 to 8 minutes, which was great. Like, this is what I want. I want you to talk more. I want you to show interest in something. I want you to, and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to ask questions and be interested in her story. And like, this was great for 5 to 8 minutes, however long the story lasted. Cause she was super passionate about her story. You know, she showed interest in the things she was talking about. And I was like, this is what I want to see. This took a month and a half to see, basically, because anyway, but then, you know, the story ends, and then it's back to, you know, wondering if we should leave because of the fire alarm. And she seemed like she wanted to leave, and it's only been like an hour and we hadn't even seen everything. And it's like, and then we tried to talk more about golf, and she was going to a golf clinic the next day. And so I was asking her about, you know, what she was going to be learning there, and you know what course it was at, and trying to ask more golf stuff, because I can talk about golf for years and I have a million stories about golf. And so, you know, I'm just trying to get her to talk more, whatever. But anyway, the fire alarm stops, and then she's like thinking like, okay, so do you want to go back in or do you want to leave? And I'm like, well, yeah, I want to go back in. We haven't seen the mummies yet. We haven't seen dinosaurs. We haven't seen. So that was kind of annoying that it's like, you know, she showed up 30 minutes late, not having a good time, then like tries to cut it short because, yeah, the fire alarm. And anyway, it's just like, anyway, so then we go to like the dinosaurs, and once again, it's just stone silence. Nothing. I'm trying to ask about the dinosaurs, if what her favorite dinosaur was, and this and that. And then same with the mummies. And I'm like feeling awkward because like she's looking at the artifacts and she's reading the words, but like she's just showing no interest. So is she even enjoying being here, or like should I try to speed things up? And so I started speeding things up because like she's just not feeling it, and I don't want to sit there and watch a little documentary for 10 minutes on a mummy thing, which I think would be kind of interesting and cool, but she's just not having it. So, you know, I would just skip over that, or it's a long paragraph of text on the plate, just kind of, oh wow, okay, cool, and then skip over that, and just to kind of get done with it. Anyway, so we kind of get done, and then she's like feeling like she's wanting to leave at the end, and so I tried to give her a hug, and we hugged, but it just felt way awkward and weird, like she didn't want it. And so I read all these signs as like she's not into me, and she's just here along for the ride and trying to get through this museum with this guy, right? Vorted, you know. So and so that's what I was reading, those kind of signs. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not an attractive guy. Yeah, I'm not in great shape. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just here. I quick scope on free for all. Like, I don't know. What else can I do? So then normally I would text after that, you know, later that night, and asking, you know, hey, I had a great time and let's hang out. But I really didn't have that great of a time, and so I didn't text her. And then Sunday rolls along, and she had her golf clinic. I fought the urge to text her asking how her golf clinic was, because like I'm hoping that she would reach out to me first, like show some interest in being like, hey, I did this golf thing, or anything, right? So then finally on Monday, I text her in the morning before work, and then I kind of apologized for the museum. I'm like, hey, you know, things just fell off. I don't know if maybe I was being too silly or excited and that threw you off, or maybe you just don't like museums, or maybe the museum wasn't like geared toward adults, even though adults can have fun at a kids museum. It wasn't even a kids museum. It was just like, there's more things for kids to do there technically, but it's still cool gems to look at and cool things, and I don't know. And so I kind of just apologized, like, in case it was me or whatever. And then she responds back like, no need to apologize. I was just tired that day. And it's like, once again, I'm like yelling at my phone, like, I know you're tired. Like, you don't have to keep telling me you're tired. You're tired. You're tired. I know. Just fake it at least. Just try to, like, yes, you can say, hey, I'm tired, but we're going to have a good time. You know, like, anything, nothing. But it's like she just came to the museum, oh, I'm low energy, and that just gave her an excuse to be low energy. And maybe she can't help it. Maybe that's how it is. I don't know. But whenever I'm tired and I like have a hangout later that day with friends or whatever, I at least try usually to, you know, be engaging or being fun or say funny things or talk or what. And like, yeah, there's definitely times I've been tired and I just stand there or whatever, wanting to go. But for the most part, you try to make an effort, especially if you are trying to establish a relationship with someone. So, that being said, I sent the text after that maybe I shouldn't have worded that way. So, she had said, I'm going to pull up my notes here, my text. She had said, yeah, no need to apologize. I was just feeling a little off. I'm like, so I sent the text saying, okay, for sure. Like, acknowledging that she was tired, but not gonna harp on the fact that she was tired and not gonna be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry you're tired, blah, blah. I was just like, okay, for sure. You know, that kind of tone. Like, okay, for sure. And then I asked in the same question, or in the same text, how was the golf clinic? And then I was being a little flirty and fun on the same text, and I said, did you learn any new putting tricks that you can teach me? Because she was doing a putting golf clinic, and I don't like to putt as much. I am better at, you know, driving and hitting irons and wedges. I don't like to putt as much. And so I was trying to mix this in with a nice little flirty, playful thing, because she knows I'm really good at golf, and like, you know, and she's kind of just learning, or she's been trying to learn for a little bit. Like, it's a funny, playful banter joke thing to be like, being flirty with someone that's lower skill level, to be like, hey, do you learn any cool tricks that you can teach me next time we hang out? You know, like, that's kind of how I was trying to word it. Like, I already know all these techniques and trainings that she's going to get at this golf clinic, but it was just a little playful banter, because in my mind I was hoping she was gonna be like, oh yeah, I learned this one new trick, this putting trick, and it helped me make all these putts. I can teach you next time. And then there'd be nice little flirty banter, right? And and then so I get the text back. Let me see when I sent this. So I sent this. Oh, she texted back right away. Actually, she texted back right away, a single question mark, just question mark. And I get this text that says just question mark, and I wait for a while, because maybe she's gonna expand on what this question mark means. It's just question mark. And so I'm waiting, because like, maybe she did a question mark and then she would text something like, wait, what do you mean by what? Anything. Nope, nothing. I wait for 10 minutes or something, nothing. And I'm like, well, this is plenty of time for her to text back. And so I'm rereading my text that I sent. I was like, okay, what did I say? Did it autocorrect something weird? Did it autocorrect to something sexual? Like, does she not understand? So I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the text, and it's like, okay, for sure. How was the golf clinic? Learn any new putting tricks you can teach me later, or something. And I'm like thinking, like, does she not know what like putting tricks are, or did it like, you know? And I'm like, how can you not know what I was trying to mean? So then I had to mansplain a text, and I was like, okay, that joke missed the mark, I guess. I was referring to when I had mentioned to you that I wasn't great at putting, and then you were doing a putting golf clinic, and so I was trying to, and when I say not great at putting, like, I mean, I'm better than most people still. I just don't like it as much as the other aspects of golf, but I'm still better than like a beginner. So anyway, so that's why I was like, I was referring to, I had mentioned I don't like putting as much, and so you were doing a putting clinic, and I was hoping maybe you learned something at the putting clinic that you could teach me next time, and this would be fun, you know, that kind of thing. And then she texts back, I was more questioning the okay, for sure. And I'm like, right there, I like throw my phone, not really, I like yell at my phone though, and I'm like, how the F am I supposed to know what you mean? Like, I didn't text that, but I'm like yelling, like, this is what's so crazy to me about like communication. It's like she sends a question mark with no explanation about it. So I just assume she's referring to the questions I asked, and like, you know, this stupid miscommunication, and I'm just like freaking out. Like, how am I supposed to know what you mean about this question mark? And I was gonna not respond. I'm like, okay, I'm done. But then she texts back, and then she was just like, but the golf clinic was great and fun. and then once again, I'm like looking at this text, like, how dry can you be? I mean, I like, I don't know. Like, if I was on the reverse side of this and I was wanting to try to establish a relationship eventually, or trying to be interested, I would know that the girl is, you know, really good at golf, and maybe I'm just beginning to golf, and if I'm interested in this girl in the slightest, and she asked me that, like, hey, do you got any new putting tricks you can teach me? I would at least try something like, oh yeah, you know, the golf instructor, he did this one drill that I can show you later, that, you know, you set the ball at 5 feet and then you make the putt, and then you go back to 7 feet and you make that putt, and then you do this one, and it's really cool. Like, just harping on anything, just talk about anything, show any excitement or anything. That's all I'm asking, is just like show a little bit of interest at all. And so after that, I texted one more time, and I was just like, nice, glad it was fun. nothing else. And then she never texted back, I never texted her, until, funny enough, this is kind of why I'm making this video, because I wasn't even thinking about her for the last 2 weeks. And then finally, she texted again this morning, Saturday morning. I'm making this on Saturday at September 6th. And she just like reaches out as dry as possible again. Hi, hope everything is well. Wanted to apologize for the weirdness a couple weeks ago. I'm not responding, honestly. I'm not gonna get sucked into this again, that I'm gonna respond and be like, oh no, sorry, you know, I know you're just tired. And, no, I'm done. I'm done with this. And it's like, we've talked, or quote unquote talked, for 2 months now, and by now, in 2 months, for most normal relationships, even if you take it slow, you would be like ramping up in your relationship steps, you know, like we'd be talking more and more, we'd be hanging out at each other's places, we'd be watching a movie, maybe even had a kiss, or, you know, whatever, right? Like, things would be ramping up, and not just one text a day, always saying you're tired, always saying you're stressed, and like, what? We're never gonna progress ever. And I went along with it longer than I should have, because I've mentioned to my friends a couple of these stories, and they're kind of just like, yeah, like, you should just get out of it, like, this is a waste of your time, and blah. And I was thinking, like, yes, it's true, it's wasting my time, but honestly, it wasn't wasting that much, because what else do? I go to work, and then I come home and I play games, right? And so one text a day that I have to stress about because, you know, of what to say, or if she's just saying she's tired and now I have to think of another question, like, it's not wasting that much time. So I was kind of just going along with it to see if eventually it would get better, but just never did. And I'm not trying to show like slander or hate or anything to her. Like, she's great, she's nice, and this is just how she is, I guess. Like, she just, or I mean, or she really is just not interested in me, even though I gave her like 4 different outs throughout the 2 months to say like, hey, if you want to stop this, stop this. But maybe she was scared to stop it too. Like, you know, maybe she didn't want to be mean and she wanted me to be the one to stop it. I don't know. I don't know anything about relationship nonsense, but it was just like so stressful. And so I thought about it, like I would make this video, and I'm sorry it's so long, but you know, you can just throw this on in the background. But this was my entire story that I wanted to mention, and figured I'd mention it before I forgot details. And hope you enjoyed all my montages in the background. Hopefully I didn't run out of them. I mean, honestly, I've been talking for like an hour and a half, so maybe I ran out of montages. I don't know. So anyway, thank you for listening for this whole thing. And if somehow she finds this video, I don't think she will, but some of my friends at work watch some of my videos, and you know, maybe if you are watching this, you know, it just was not meant to be. I could definitely tell you were not interested. And so, anyway. So, I'll end the video here, I believe. Thank you again for listening. I know it was completely different and it's a weird video to make. But, yep, there's the story. And, you know, from time to time I might have a story to tell. And so I'll kind of do the same thing. I'll play a bunch of montages and I'll tell a story or something. But this one was a little bit long. Apologize, but I hope you guys have a good day.
Cause I'm stuck in limbo. Cause I'm stuck in limbo.